I'm sure that it must have some American subscribers on this channel. But first, I just want to ask you Canadians, do you guys remember the Royal Canadian Air Farce? See, I'm sure some of you do. Any of you Americans know the Royal Canadian Air Farce? Okay. So, anyone that's not familiar with the Royal Canadian Air Farce, it was a comedy troupe that started off in the 70s on the radio. And in 1993, migrated towards television. And for the next 15 years, Air Farce was the premier Canadian sketch comedy show on TV. There was Air Farce and there was This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Those were the two mainstay Canadian sketch shows. Difference is Air Farce was more of a political spoof. While they did have some original characters and they made fun of really everything, it was mostly the politics that they decided to poke the most amount of fun at, because that gave it its biggest sense of identity, other than being just a normal sketch show. In 2004, one of its writers and one of its stars, John Morgan, passed away. He retired in 2001, but when he passed away in 2004, that was when people kind of noticed a little bit of a decline in the show's quality. And when it got canceled, the normal episodes got canceled in 2008, they still decided to stick around for New Year's Eve specials. And eventually, one of its other founding members, Roger Abbott, ended up passing away in 2011. And when they would try to bring in younger people, it didn't really work all the time. The one person that it always worked with whenever she would come on the show was Jessica Holmes. She even had this briefly this small-lived spin-off called The Holmes Show. And yeah, she was an awesome woman. It may not be a perfect show, but when you look back at old episodes, especially the John Morgan era, it's quite awesome. And even if you don't get all the political jokes, it's still it's still like a cool times capsule, because it transports you back into the 90s or the early 2000s. And some of the things are still as true back then as they are now. I remember I was watching this one clip, I think it was from the year 2000, and they were making fun of Vladimir Putin. Yeah, they made fun of Vladimir Putin over 20 years ago. What's changed, right? My personal favorite on Air Farce was Mike from Canmore. Very, very hilarious character. He was an original. He was a Canadian caricature, almost like Bob and Doug McKenzie, but Mike from Canmore, he's even uglier. He's even dumber. It's pretty funny. The thing that a lot of people didn't like about Air Farce was sometimes as I said, the show eventually ended up, people thought that the show grew stale. But also, apparently some people thought that the show was simply better on the radio than it was on actual television. I don't know. I liked just about everything that Air Farce had to offer. Sure, some of the things weren't amazing, but like, you can cherry pick the bits of bad out of it, because trust me, the majority of Air Farce is great. yeah. Since Air Farce is a show, I'm not going to give it like 3.5 or 4 stars out of 4 or whatever. Just give Air Farce a shot. Click on Air Farce archives, and yeah, watch some old clips of it. They don't have full episodes, but that's fine. Just check all you feel like. Check it out.